How's your popcorn? Looks good.
Okay. We are up, maybe? Looks like we're up. Hi, everybody. Nate, are we up? Is it happening? He's nodding.
Nate,
Yep,
are
we're
we
good.
up?
Ooh, I heard me. I sound so crispy. Hey, everybody. We're a little late today. We're going to do this quick. It's Tina. She's Blaren. It's Stick It to the Man, Neosis. It's Pando. It's Zep and Wild and Crazy Chaser. I love it. It's Scott, Planet Express, repping Futurama. It's Nate. He's playing Sailor. We don't know what Hallsdyer's name is on this island. Island Q guy. Nice. And
Island Guy Q. That's. I decided that is.
Got it. Dig it. And then we've got Cashinon, the monk punching, ripping apart manticores a couple episodes ago. Okay, where we left off. You guys had just come to the tail end of the spine of the Serpent, which is a chain of islands that kind of sweeps up from where you guys just were in Mundo Harbor. It took you about a day of sailing to get here. You killed a manticore on the way there. It had an amulet that you collected that had the symbols of 4 different gods twisted around it. You found yourself on this island with an obelisk that had a reading, and if I can pull it up quick enough, I'll read it. No, I'm not going to be able to. Maybe I will. An obelisk that said, "Welcome, truant, to these shores. If your purpose be true and sure, if your heart be full of vice, offer now your sacrifice." The island seemed very welcoming to you. You found some huts that were pretty much designed to house you, and you were cared for by human-sized, slightly shorter than human, but like man-sized blackbirds in multicolored robes, each of them wearing a different robe. They mimicked what you said. They answered some of your questions, and you also found some paintings that seemed to depict the life and times of 2 men on the island, a seeming progression of events that were there. There was a little bit of romance and some middle school back and forth regarding Cashinon and Clatch, the lizard folk captain of the ship, facilitated by Blaren. And that there were some bird songs. I think that was basically what had happened. Somebody in the night was watching the birds. It was determined that they are watching your stuff, but they didn't seem to take anything, but they were looking for that. That's where we are.
We did, in fact, long rest, question mark.
You did long rest, and you are level 4, which I forgot about until right now. So that's something. If it comes up, we'll get into it. We should have done that before we started streaming. So don't worry about it. We'll do it at the end of the session, but if it matters, we'll figure it out. If we go into combat or something. Cleric and Druid, you guys should spend a moment to make sure that you have the spells prepared that you want to have for the day. And otherwise, Friendship Group, the day is yours. The birds are preparing you breakfast.
Oh, I slept like an angel last night.
Felt like I was floating above my bed. Just, whew.
Wow.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone's a real morning person.
Something about being on land just feels good.
I'm confused. Did you fly? Like, did the bird people give you flying? Because I just it was a cot and I slept.
It's more like a saying. Actually, it's not even a saying. I made that up. No one sleeps like angels. It should have been I slept like a
log.
A log. Trees. I should have said I slept like a log.
Oh, where I come from, sorry.
What's
No,
that?
tell me more. So where Pando comes from, trees sleep. What happens where you come from?
Well, logs are fallen dead trees, and they lay on the ground, and they're hard to move. They're very heavy, and so sleeping like a log makes more sense than sleeping like an angel. I misspoke.
You get heavier when you sleep?
No, you know what? Zep, tell us about where you come from.
Oh, I was gonna say, we actually talk about sleeping like angels all the time. Like, yeah, we think they knock themselves out. And you ever see an angel? No, because they're
I've not, but I
sleeping
didn't know that they knock themselves out. They just like hit themselves in the head.
all the time. They're very clumsy.
I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Zep, is this a tenet of your religion? Is that angels are clumsy narcoleptics?
No, it's like science or something. Like you guys don't.
What? It's not science.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what we always.
No angel anything is science. Hold on a second, Zep. When you said where I come from, was this at your cloister or your abbot or whatever it is?
No, where I grew up as a child, when I went to school and such, that's what we learned about.
Are you celestial?
I'm sorry.
Okay. So Tritons, we like where I lived as Tritons. There was we would sometimes get visitors, and one of them was a celestial. So he was he had like an angel. He called her an angel who like endowed him with like special gifts, and like he was a celestial, like kind of glowed a little. He could sprout wings. It was awesome, but he was not clumsy, and he definitely didn't knock himself out. He was very, very impressive and a very good fighter, but then he could also fly. The water was a little bit of a problem while he was with us, but he wasn't with us very long.
He probably hit it well. They maybe can keep it going for a few days, but then they're going to run into something. Take my word for it.
I guess we did sleep like angels who were knocked right out on our cots.
Like a log.
What is for breakfast? Are these...
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, so the breakfast that's being prepared is mostly fruits. Last night you get the sense that they had to kind of forage quickly when you arrived. But this is a little bit more like things that are like kind of roasted and stewed in halved out coconuts. This seems to be kind of much more presented. There are definitely fish that are roasting. There are some like crayfish that have been like cracked open and then prepared for you to eat. But it's all fairly masterfully created. Like this is pretty good cooking. And you're not sure where birds of this nature would have learned that kind of, especially you, Cashinon, somebody who would have come from the elite living. Like you kind of look at this and you're like, this is fancy. This is like some of the fish are kind of like butterflied in like almost an artistic way. It is high. It's not even just a step above like survivalist living on an island. It is like steps above. It's like fine dining. Some examples of that.
You guys, this is like what we would get on vacation, on a special vacation. This place is no joke.
Who's we?
I don't know why they treat us this way. I mean, look at how your fish is prepared. It's a work of art.
It really is.
The fish doesn't
sooner.
The fish doesn't look that way normally, and the way the fruit is kind of making a circle, like a bed under it. Like these birds want us to feel pampered, and I don't know why. And I'm trying to just trust it.
The one with the blue robe and the little flit of hair is kind of organizing it, and he turns to you and says, "Remember that food is nourishes us. It nourishes our body, our soul. To take care of the food is to take care of oneself. There's nothing greater than preparing a fine artistic meal for someone." And then he walks away.
That wasn't the same voice he used last night. Did I admit, like, I wasn't here for a lot of it? What is, and then also what's the plan?
What, do you say what is?
What is?
What?
I love that question. I love that question. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know the
have a
answer.
great pitch.
One of the birds says, "What is?"
Yes.
What is? You're right.
What is?
Hold on. I'm gonna write that down in my book. I really am gonna ruminate on that for a while.
I've been searching for years to answer that question, but as far as these guys are concerned, we followed them, and they just look like they're here to serve us, and I don't get it.
Yeah, if only we could use these against that guy with the fancy hat.
Use these polite birds.
Yeah, I bet they could lay quite a trap or something.
Zep, you say the guy with the fancy hat, and one of them looks at you kind of quizzically and cocks its head and goes and makes the sound of a cannon firing.
Wow, that's disturbing.
And
wow, what have you heard?
That fancy hat. Did he come here? Oh.
kind of shuffles away. He's a couple of minutes, but he comes back, and he is carrying what seems to be the decapitated head of a goblin.
Wowza!
Close your eyes. What's that? Close your eyes.
And he says, and makes the splash sound.
What happened?
Says, offer now your sacrifice.
Whoa! This is frightening.
Is that the sacrifice? Did they sacrifice the goblin head?
Sacrifice.
Oh, why did I try?
I think he just confirmed what you were saying. That was it. That was an affirmative.
You think so? Okay. Thought he was
Yeah.
just repeating the word.
Affirmative. Yeah. See, when Bird, just real quick. Sorry. What do we remember his name? Does he have a name?
Yeah, this is the one that sounds like a waterfall's babble.
Waterfall babble, blue babble. When we do you understand yes or no questions? If you want to say yes, say affirmative.
Affirmative.
Great. If you want to say no, say negative.
Negative.
Okay. So
He could still be repeating you. I just want to throw
well,
that
let's
out there.
try it
Let's
out.
run a test.
Oh, let's try it out. Are these two men in the murals still alive? Yes or no?
Affirmative.
Are they on the island?
Affirmative.
Can we see them?
Negative.
Okay.
Only those who carry the amulet may come to us.
Oh, the amulet.
One of us took that amulet.
We have an amulet.
You got one of those.
Do I have it? Let me check. Or did I leave it?
I don't know.
Did I leave it on the?
This was a question I had for you. I don't remember who took it. I believe it was Cashinon, Pando,
Or
and
Zeph.
Blaren that did the most investigating of the creature, so it would track that one of the three of you had it.
I was cutting things up, so I don't.
Oh my god! All I have in my Pando notes is there is an amulet. I don't say who has it. I just say
What it
I
is.
have it, Panda.
I talked about it and I investigated it. I don't know if I actually said I will take it. If that's
I would assume one of you would have grabbed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna say it makes most sense for Cashinon since she.
yeah, Cashinon.
Yeah.
I have it. I have it. Oh, amulet. Here it is in my.
Oh.
I was distracted by the belt I made clutch that I'm wearing because I just didn't want to forget it. But here it is.
The bird kind of puts the goblin head kind of gently down and walks over and looks at it. And then he starts calling out the other names that you now recognize. Otherwise, it would just sound like sounds. He makes a tropical bird sound. It's like, ah, ah! Makes a seagull call. And then he just says Silver Feather, and the three others all come around, and you now see that the one that is wearing gray has silver lining on its arm feathers and around its plumage on the top, and they all kind of look. And Burble looks back at you and says, "Those who carry the amulet may come to me."
Well, let's go see him.
Yeah, lead us there. Yeah.
Who are we seeing, and why do we want to see them?
The two guys who are providing all this. They probably have answers, more answers than the birds do.
We should also thank them.
Oh yes, that's a good idea.
The bird, when you said that, "Your thanks are not necessary as long as your intent is true." And then he says, looks at you and says, "Phil." Baco.
What was that?
I didn't get that.
He said Phil Marco.
Phil. Baco.
Yeah.
Oh,
Laren,
yeah.
hi.
Phil, like Phil.
There,
Marco?
hi.
That's me.
Cashinon. Are we introducing ourselves?
Cashinon.
But
But.
This is like when they have those boards at the pubs where people have their high scores on darts, and people write dirty words instead of their names.
Dirty
Yes.
words instead of their names.
Oh well, okay. I guess that's my name on the island.
Dirty word.
Right.
He says,
We're ready. Right.
Eat
Oh,
well,
and
and
he
the
already
journey
knows
will
Daniel
begin.
from last night.
Eat well, and the journey will begin.
Oh,
let's
okay.
dig in.
So you guys can take a few moments to eat, collect yourself. Is there anything else that you want to do before you trek out on however long this adventure may be?
Is there anything that we can investigate around here now that it's daytime that stands out if we look around?
Yeah, you can roll an investigation check.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Ha, 9.
No, I mean, it looks like they keep this place pretty well kept. I mean, it's meant to be a place of constant transition, right? This is meant to be just a place to house travelers, and then just kind of when they leave, they leave.
Like an Airbnb.
What's Fats? You ready? Did you finish eating?
Yeah, so what's Bats is you notice kind of eating, but also putting some of it away in his pockets. And he's like, "Oh, I know that Halsdye said that it was, everybody was a morning person. I was still kind of sleeping. But I heard the tail end of it. You're gonna go into the woods a little deeper. I might make my way back to the boat. I can let them know that you might be a little bit longer before we sail if you prefer."
You're sure you're gonna be okay by yourself?
Oh yeah, it's just I can see the boat from here. It's not gonna be that much of a trouble, I think.
All right.
All right, y'all.
Hold on, What's Fats, before you go, Babel, and a fish or two back with What's Fats to our friend on the boat. We have a couple of friends who are still on the boat. Would it be okay to send them some food?
Affirmative.
Huh.
And they collect. They bring some trays, and they actually start to like bring more food out and prepare more food for it. It doesn't seem to be any trouble, and they seem to kind of delight in it. So a couple of them stay. Babel and Silverfeather are seeming to kind of get ready. They're like getting a pack ready. They've got like some rope and some things, and just like general provisions that you would imagine somebody would take on a short hike. and they're kind of getting ready over on the side of the camp for you all to prepare. And you do notice that they are each wielding like almost a machete-like scimitar.
Well, how do they hold them?
It's interesting. Their wings like kind of come to the end there, but like under the big feathers are like smaller like talons almost that operate like not a completely opposable hands, but like can claw and can grasp simple tools and things.
Wow. These are weird birds.
Pando
Mm-hmm.
and Hallsdire. Pando and Hallsdire, you guys can roll history or nature checks, whichever one is better for you, to determine if you might know what these creatures are.
All right. Bring it on, D20. Okay, 7 plus
18.
10.
Okay, Hallsdire, you rolled an 18.
In history, yeah.
Okay. Pando, you know that there are birds that are like this, but the only bird that you really know that's kind of humanoid is called an Aarakocra, and that's definitely not these. They seem to be more able to speak. They're more human-sized. That's not really what you're looking at here. Hallsdire, for you, you've heard songs and tell of this. It kind of jogged your memory listening to them and the way that they sang last night. You've heard parrots that sound kind of like this. And you remember like talking to a few people about this, and these are creatures that are sought after by some bards for their background singing abilities. They're called Kenku. And the interesting thing about them is that they are very intelligent. They are very functioning, but they don't have language. Their language is entirely constructed with each other by mimicked sounds. Kenku. So it's Kaenku. Yeah.
I did not understand what question you were asking in the chat, Pando.
Ignore me. I'm sorry.
Kink?
Something our viewers will never know. Oh, well, you just said it. Okay.
No, it's hidden behind the bar. They can't see it. And we don't have viewers.
That too.
Amen.
All right. So you guys can get ready to set out. And again, any other last minute things you want to do before you do?
I kind of, is this a good time for us to level up? Do we need to?
Again, I think it might take a little bit of figuring because it's you got to do a couple things. For you spellcasters, I would say at the very least you probably want to level up so that your HP is added. Your hit points will add automatically through D&D Beyond. And spellcasters, you probably all get another second level spell slot, and you might be able to prepare an extra spell. So you might just want to do that just in case. Actually, bards, you prepare your spells for the day too. Is that correct? Or do you just have a list of set spells made?
That is a good question that we should figure out at some point.
Gotcha. I think you might just have a set spell list.
I think that's possible.
I
have my spells for the most part set. I can grab an extra one.
Okay. All right. So if there are no other orders of business, we'll get started into the jungle of this place. Immediately as you start to walk into the jungle, there are paths that are set. Some of you have made your way a little bit into it, and it felt kind of like a typical forest. But you walk a little bit with them guiding you and walking in front, and it starts to become very overgrown. They seem to have a path that fits them, but they're very consciously macheteing some vines and things and kind of making the way a little bit better for you. You would have had to really work to find this path if you were on your own. At some points they will turn over something that looks entirely impassable, but then it'll open up to a clearing and turn its way through. And it's again, you think it might be impossible for outsiders to navigate their way through such a dense layer of foliage. You have no idea how long it's taken you. It's kind of getting hot and sticky. It's almost like rainforest conditions. Occasionally you'll hear some like little birds flitting, and you'll see like a bright colored bird fly across. You see a toucan or two kind of go by and call. And it's really lovely. There are definitely monkeys in the trees kind of hopping around. You see like bright colored flowers and berries. Occasionally some of them, as you pass them, like Silver Feather or Babel will point to one and say negative and keep walking. And you get the sense that you shouldn't be eating anything as you go. Go ahead and roll for me each. What do I want to do? Everybody roll a survival check. We're going to do a group survival check here to see if there's an encounter that happens.
I did just level up. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
No, I rolled a 1.
Okay, so how these group checks are going to count is ones are going to count as 2 failures. Natural 20s would count as 2 successes. So we need a majority of you to succeed in order to pass.
I got 2 successes, so I got natural 20. So
you
I
did. Okay. So you two cancel each other out. So we'll see. It's basically best 2 of 3 of Cashinon, Pando, and Blair, and see if you guys succeed.
16.
16?
I got 11.
Cashinon?
11.
Okay.
And 13.
13. Okay, you all pass. So as you're making your way through this, you start to get a little winded. You start to get a little like sweaty, maybe like a little delirious and things. But like something bright, or like then a monkey comes across, and you're like, ooh, and it kind of like perks you up, and it's just like an interesting place to be. You seem like it could be exhausting or difficult for you, but it was fine in these circumstances. Eventually, it feels like you've been walking for probably about an hour or two when you make your way out into a clearing. Before you get there, you start to see overgrown pillars of stone with like vines across them, and you're like, wow, that's a weird looking tree, until you realize it's like a stone structure that's been entirely taken over by tropical plants. They hack their way through, and you walk your way into this semicircular clearing. The first thing that strikes you immediately is the fact that there are 2 tall coconut trees arching their way up and around a large stone door. It looks like sandstone with vines kind of creeping across, but in the middle of the door, maybe about 8 to 10 feet up, it would be like a reach for some of you to grab up there, is a circular indent that seems to be about the size of your amulet. You notice above, too, that the canopy is all kind of trimmed almost. It looks like magically maintained so that the sun can shine down directly into this place. Whereas the jungle was kind of impossibly dark for the day as you were walking through, this is bright and well lit. One of the trees, the tree to the left, is knotted, bent, and kind of thick. And its branches kind of go over. It's definitely a coconut tree. You see large coconuts hanging from it, but it almost takes on a more deciduous style old tree that you might see in a forest. The one on the right is also a coconut tree, but it's much more slender, much more lithe, like a typical tree that you would see. Coconuts up at the top and kind of thin branches off to the side.
Whoa.
The door.
The door.
Alley-ho.
So
Are there 2 men in here?
Babel looks at you and says, affirmative. And he walks his way over and sweeps up one arm towards the large knotted tree and says, fill. And then his left hand over to the other smaller slender tree and says, babble. I'm sorry, not Babel. Baco.
Trees are the people?
And as you say that, Vlarin, you notice that this tree that you've been looking at opens an eye, and you're surprised that you could have never seen it before. But it bends itself up and breaks its way from the side and walks its way over to you, crouching down, folding its arms, and looking at you.
Hello.
And the other lithe tree does the same thing. It kind of pulls itself up, walks over, and cozies up next to the other tree and bends down and looks. And says, "Well, who do we have here? Huh? Well,
Hi, I'm Vlarin.
Vlarin?
Hi, I'm Vlarin.
I'm dirty words.
Dirty words. Oh, what a curious name.
I'm Pando. It is so cool to meet you. I gotta say, I've never in all my years. Can I shake your branch or something?
It would be a delight to
Oh,
interact
baby.
with one. And
My pleasure.
he shakes your hand, and you see his face kind of moves, and he thinks, and for a second he speaks to you in Sylvan, and he says, "You are one who walks with the trees."
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I feel understood here. It is so good to meet you.
Are you replying in Sylvan or in Common?
In Sylvan.
Okay. It says, "It's nice to meet you as well. This is my partner and my love, Phil." And he points over to the knotted tree and he says, "Little one, it is nice to make your acquaintance."
Oh,
In Sylvan.
okay. I just bow. I start crying a little bit, like I'm beaming, smiling, and you just see like a constant stream of tears coming down this way.
"Welcome to the spine of the serpent. You're muted, Dirty Word."
Thank you very much. Sorry, I was so astounded I could barely speak at first. But we appreciate all the hospitality that you've shown us on the island, and we wanted to come see you because we have the amulet that was specified. We took it from a couple of aggressive fellas.
You said that, and Baco says, the manticores, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You're not friends with them, are you?
Oh, well, friends is... Although we honor all life on the spine of the serpent, it is... Well, it is unfortunate that some of the life has lost its way. These manticores are some that have.
Well, they aren't going to be a problem around here if they were a problem anymore, because they fought us and they died. So,
well, it's unfortunate, but the cycle of life continues. May their bodies nourish the next round of life.
That's it. Oh my God, this is what I'm talking about.
you'll be happy to know that we cut up the bodies and plan to use them as just, really honor it.
I hope you're okay with what was just said.
Well, it is. Hopefully you have a use for such creatures. Everything has its use. Good cannot exist without evil, although, as we have felt in our roots, it feels that the balance may be shifting.
How so?
Well, the spine of the serpent. Baco and I have been tasked with protecting it. We have created this doorway to do just that. The creatures in the land that live inside of this trail of islands harken back to the first creation of the four gods. The four gods before there was any life on Talus created a large, raging serpent. They loved the creature, but they soon realized that it was unruly, that it was unwise to create such a strong beast. And while it was in existence, other life could not flourish. The four gods, as they worked together to create this creature, worked together to meet its demise. Frozen here, these islands are the very tip of its spine. But its evil, its life force, brought new life. Some good, some bad. The balance continues inside of here. But there's been a recent disturbance, and it feels that some evil long forgotten on this creature has awakened.
I'm so sorry. I'm confused. Do you basically have a zoo behind those doors?
But I... Do you remember Phil, the zoo? I suppose we have a bit of a menagerie in here. It's definitely more dangerous than any zoo. That's for sure, small Triton.
It's me. I'm a Triton. You're so smart. But they're like trapped because if they got out, it would be harmful, or they're trapped because like you're trying to keep them safe.
Well, I suppose the answer is both. This creature had the ability to tear the seams between the worlds, between the planes. You may be familiar with the elemental planes. Dwarves tend to worship fire, earth, water, air, complete planes consisting of one element. There are other planes as well. This creature and these islands span those divides.
So this creature that we're standing on, that has the zoo of dangerous but also need to be protective animals in him or her or it or they, is dead or just like has its head in another plane? I'm sorry, I get confused.
This creature is no longer living, but its parts and its consciousness were too powerful to fully destroy. While its physical form is dead, its consciousness, its influence are fragmented across the planes.
Okay, I feel like we definitely should come back to that. And I think that probably some of my friends have a much better grasp on what's going on than I do. So I'm going to let them ask some questions. But I do really just have real quick one question because I'm like just super confused. You guys are awesome. Very into everything. Thank you so much for a great evening and morning. And oh my God, just all things. I just want to tell you how great all of your bird friends are. Like, I don't know if you pay them or like what the deal is, but only the best things to say. But on the like wall in the place where we stayed, there was a picture of two humans and your trees. And that's where I'm stuck.
Well, I was an elf. Point of.
Oh, they're elves.
Well, Phil was a human, and
I'm a human.
Was an elf. You and Phil looks. You are.
I'm both.
Well, yes.
And neither.
I suppose that is true. You, therefore, young bard, would know that at times in this world's history, a union between an elf and a human would be frowned upon in certain circles.
Honestly, I think it's so great that you guys toughed it out and stayed together all this time. I think more elf-human couples should do that.
That will
I
be
know my
what,
parents did.
Phil, I believe our 8th century is coming up in just a few short years.
Wow.
Yes, yes, you don't have
I'm
to raise... Yeah,
I'm so confused because I'm pretty sure you're tree. Are you just pretending to be trees?
no, we served years ago the 4 gods on this island. We found this island. We sought protection here. The island, as you, I'm sure, have noticed, pulls ships towards it with its force. So we saw many travelers. And Bako and I lived here together for the entirety of my life, in service of the 4 gods. It was their gift that when it came time for my body to die, that I became a tree. And it was their gift that Bako would not have to spend the rest of his years without me. And he was planted alongside this temple entrance as sentinels to live on.
So nice.
Come on.
But what do you do with the sacrifices?
It's gruesome business, but it's not always good that comes through here. So for us, if it was good that would honor the gods would look favorably. We'd feed them and we would move them on. If those of ill intent, the gods would take notice to protect this place. So there is a blood sacrifice involved. The gods are not perfect.
So the gods get the sacrifice, not you guys.
The serpent's consciousness seems to demand it, but the gods accept it as well.
Awesome. I'm still confused about that whole consciousness thing, so I'm going to turn it over to somebody else. But let me just say, you are just wonderful. All good things.
Thank you.
Your wonderful bird
Karen,
friend.
I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh no.
Oh, that's better.
Your wonderful bird friends who took such great care of us. There was a goblin head. It just.
And at that point, Silverfeather steps forward and says, "Evil demanded sacrifice." And Bako looks and nods and says, "Yeah, that sounds like a vessel passed by who was accustomed to this pass. Typically, if a pirate ship or a warship would be prepared to feed the serpent rather than be dashed upon the shores."
Do you get a lot of goblins? Do you get a lot of them here?
Over the years, goblins don't tend to travel on the sea on their own, but they are a common sacrifice.
I got a question. Do you think it might be possible to to harness evil in order to possibly destroy other evil?
Certainly, this is something that the gods have had to do. Certainly, one evil fights another. For those in war, it's hard to say what evil is. This is a interesting question.
I'm just going to say, guys, I think first off, thank you so much for holding this conversation with us. But we've really taken the idea of having older, trees here and really put them through the ringer on the questions that we're asking.
I appreciate the pun.
Yeah, no problem. But
Can you repeat the pun? I missed it.
Yeah, let's rewind.
I don't know. I don't know.
We have tree ring. I thought it was fun.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Yeah, we put it.
That's funny.
Talk about dirty words.
That's true. That's true. But we essentially, our goal here is to take care of some sort of. Remind me of this guy's name again, everyone.
Plunder.
The Plunder King. I was going to call him the Pirate King, and I knew that wasn't right.
Baco, as soon as he says that, you say that, he looks at the Plunder King.
Yeah. The Plunder King.
The Plunder King has been dead for centuries.
That's what we thought, but he's got a real fancy hat now, and he's walking around keeping it.
Human puppet babies.
Yeah, that's probably who threw the goblin head as a sacrifice.
Phil, that must be it. And Phil looks and says, it was when the gods tasked us with protecting this door that the Plunder King was at his peak. This is likely the evil that is throwing the balance of this island. Whether it's directly related of him awakening forces in here, or if it's just the natural tides of good and evil feeling this movement, is unclear to me.
Yeah. So I had a natural follow-up to my previous question. Would you let me or somebody else in our group take some of them animals and use them to beat up on the Plunder King and his followers?
Well, as I said before to your previous question, and that is a good natural follow-up, evil begets evil. If you were to right the imbalance on the spine of the serpent, it could have repercussions in stopping whatever forces are awakening the Plunder King and his followers.
How would we do that?
Well, you have the amulet that you earned from the island. The gods have obviously looked on you favorably. The way this island works is that if you are to traverse it through our temple, you could walk to the other end of the islands without...
We would get to go to the zoo!
Well, in a sense, by skipping through different phases of the plains, you would make your way to the ends of the island in a similar fashion or similar pace that it may take you to sail the islands.
Huh.
If you would be willing to enter the zoo, as you called it, young Triton, and right the evil, we would allow it, and over the years, ships have been pulled in, treasures have been found. Anything that you were to find would be yours own to keep. You would be doing us, and by extension our gods, a great service.
Excuse me?
Yes, you don't have to raise your hand.
I'm so sorry. I know, it's habit. We do it a lot because it's like a swimming thing. So that all sounds great. Like you are really good at selling this. I still don't understand how we right the balance of good and evil. Do we like pet the animals and like sing songs and like teach them things to be good? Like do we just teach them goodness, or is it not the animals? Like we meet people on the like I don't good and evil are like hard to understand. So like how do we or do we or is like a ball that's good and a ball that's evil, and we just have to like balance the scale?
The creatures' planar bindings are delicately balanced. When the life force of the creature, physical life force of the creature passed, the serpent, it was passed on into tribes of snake-like individuals. The Yuan Ti. These creatures are primarily the worshippers of the darkest parts of this creature. If you were to find what they are worshipping and what they are purporting and stop it, this would likely be what would right the balance of the planes.
We find the snake people, we're like, dude, you're following the wrong god. We take care of the not god, and then it would be better.
I would say that you will have difficulty in diplomacy with such creatures.
So we have to kill it.
Say that your best tactics would be to divide and conquer. In small numbers, their forces very much weakened. As with any god, the more they are worshipped, and the more one part of the god is worshipped, that part will grow. Take the goddess of life, for instance. She has the power to create great civilizations. But if her darker sides are worshipped, the ability to create storms, evil creatures, those sorts of things take hold. She is influenced. She is moved by her followers. And such is true as this great God-given beast.
Okay. We should probably talk about this a little bit before we let you know. Question. We have some friends on a boat who would probably want to stay on that boat and just like boat it up and around. Is there a way that we could get word to them, or would we have to like go to the boat and then come back and then get started?
We will send one of our Kenku servants back, and he reaches up and plucks from the top of his branches a large coconut, and it's like about the size of your torso, and he brings it down to you, Valerian, and says, have the Kenku bring this back to your ship. This is our bounty, and it will protect your ship from the darker forces and the pools of this creature. It will allow your compatriots to move their way to the end of the island as you make your way through individually.
Thank you. But we should just like, we're a friendship group, we make decisions together, so we should just like touch base before we like definitely say yes.
Of course.
Puddle, yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. You should think of any questions you have for us. We've been like asking you all the questions, and that's not fair. So you should totally, while we meet, like think of questions you want to ask us, and we'll answer your questions.
And Bako turns and he starts to say like, oh, I wonder how cuisine has changed, and like they.
Okay, so we'll go over.
Friendship huddle.
How do you feel, Zep?
I want to go in that door. I want to see some cool animals.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Okay. We're seeing the cool animals, but we're also kind of defeating the evil spirit of the whole island.
Yeah, sounds like a win-win.
It was
All right.
harder for me to focus on that part, but yeah, I guess you're right.
Okay. Just making sure.
And I imagine Clatch will appreciate getting a token that should ward off all danger while he's sailing.
Yeah. Oh, do you think they could take him my belt? His belt. The belt I made. I want him to have it in case something happens in there.
For the belt, okay.
Just to be upfront, I did not understand what they meant about like dividing and conquering and like parts of evil. Like I thought we were just gonna find some snake people and then I was gonna stab them with my trident. So if it's more complicated than that, I just want to be real clear up front that I don't understand.
I don't, in all honesty, believe it's going to be more complicated than that.
Okay, great. I am prepared to stab the snake person with my trident.
Tina, is
Yeah,
this
I
character, or
thought-
do you need like metagame clarification here?
Don't spoil it. If we don't understand, we'll figure it out when we get in there.
Okay, great, cool.
Yeah, your explanation made a lot of sense to me, Blair, and I like that. I'm like ready to do that.
All right, here we go.
Hands in, like we talked about.
All right.
1,
2,
3.
3.
Friendship.
Friendship.
You guys do that, and the two Kenko echo back just the discordant mess that was to you.
It's so funny because I feel like really one person should just say 1, 2, 3, and we all go on that person's 3, right?
On 3 or after 3?
After 3. Here's the time. Hold on a second. We're gonna do this one more time. I want to get this right. Okay.
All right.
So here's the timing. I'm gonna do the
Okay.
timing now, and then we'll run it. So
Okay.
it'd be
Okay.
1, 2.
2. Okay.
Hold on. Hold on. 1, 2.
Friends.
3.
That sounded good to me.
Don't say anything right now.
Okay.
This is not a time where you say anything.
Okay.
1.
All right. It's all right. It's all right. I was swallowing.
Focus, sturdy.
Very loud swallow.
We almost
All right.
have
1, 2, 3. Friendship group.
Friendship.
All right.
Group.
Are we just gonna say friendship?
Oh, good
I say both
question.
words.
Okay, so friendship group.
Friendship group.
I'm gonna do the countdown again, and we're gonna use that timing. All right, hands in.
it, right?
I'm nervous.
All right. 1, 2,
One.
3.
Friendship.
Group.
Better.
Better.
Nando, I heard that though.
Better.
Guys, Tritons don't do anything like this. It feels really cool.
It was really cool for me too.
I feel like it's cool. It's cool.
It's cool for
It
all
is.
of us.
I feel like we're reaching a new level as a group.
Okay. So, Mr. Silver Feathers, are you the one who's going to take it to the group, or Mr. Blue Babble, or Mrs.? I'm sorry, I didn't even ask. I don't know. I don't know why.
They both look and say affirmative.
Okay, so here's this, and can you tell Clatch that Blaren will meet him at the other end of the island? We're going through the island, and he's to sail around it, and this giant coconut will keep him safe so he doesn't need me on the boat.
He repeats back exactly what you said in the exact same cadence. Exactly that.
And then
Also, I hope they enjoyed the fish.
here, to Clatch from Cashanon.
Shannon, why don't you say something different than from? Like, come on, lay on a little bit of flirtation.
I don't know. It
The one
seems.
says, put on a little bit of flirtation.
Oh wait! Don't say that. I don't know how well, I guess I don't even know if I'll make it back. So just thinking of you. Is that
Thinking of you?
okay? More confident, maybe.
More confident. Can you do a wink? Can you wink?
Thinking of you?
Okay, no. Thinking of you.
Thinking of you?
Oh, okay. Having a mirror for this isn't making me feel great, but let's just take the belt. Just to Clatch from Cashanon. Thinking of you.
Thinking of you.
Okay, better. I feel better about that.
There we go.
Okay, thank you.
They both march into the woods, into the jungle, back the way they came, and as they do, when they're just out of sight, you hear a discordant shout of "Friendship group!"
Well, I'm glad they're a part of the group. I'm glad they're team spirit. I also hope that message is convincing and that Clatch believes that giant coconut will protect him, because I'm not sure we said in that message who gave it to us and why he should believe us, but I think it's going to be fine.
At this, Phil says, the Kenku have listened and would be able to impart any part of the relevant conversation that would be needed to. They're quite remarkable creatures.
It's also Clatch. He's a very straightforward guy.
I wouldn't believe it.
Well,
yeah. If somebody handed me a giant coconut and says this will protect you from the waters, I would immediately believe it. But...
yeah. Any questions for us?
I do have one. Are there any gnomes were always coming up with great contraptions, and I was always interested to see what would happen in the years. It's been quite some time, a couple of decades at least, since we've talked to an inhabitant on the island. Is there anything interesting that they've created?
Gnomes? I'm going to roll a history check on that. All right.
We haven't met any gnomes, right?
Until now. I'm kidding.
What?
All this time.
I rolled a 10.
The best thing you don't know too much about gnomes. They do make contraptions. The biggest thing that you know about them is they've created their own island and their own nation in the middle of the ocean that was completely created out of like metal and stuff, right? They
left the chunks of and created their own thing, right?
That's the dwarves did that with boats. These guys created like a floating. It started off as like kind of a bunch of like little boats that they tied together, and like through the years they've created what's known as the Great Plate, which is a giant island anchored in the middle of the ocean that gnomes have created.
Cool. Well, I convey that information to the trees.
We did know about that. Have you seen it recently? What have the little minds come up with?
I'm not even certain they exist. I don't know if there are gnomes.
Of course there are gnomes.
Do I know anything since I've traveled? Do I roll something to tell them?
You can roll a history check.
I also, in sailing, if I've ever been to Plate Boys McGee.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I got a 3, so.
Yep, you're not too keen on gnomes. No.
Can't say that I can tell you anything.
7.
A 7, Blaren?
You bet.
The most you know. What's that?
Never mind. Go ahead.
The most you know is that the Great Plate is actually of a size now that the ocean currents are starting to divert around it. Like they've actually changed kind of the natural landscape of the ocean by creating a landmass there.
So I haven't actually been there, but it's so big now that like they had to put out new maps of ocean currents. So like I sail a lot, but I haven't sailed there. But like we had to like reroute some of our like ways we sail because they changed the currents. Their island's so big.
And he turns to Phil and like puts his arm on the. Phil, did you hear? That's remarkable. Those. What will they think of next? And he just like seems delighted by that information.
I bet they're gonna make their island even bigger.
Well, shake my branches.
Okay.
Okay. Literal. Have you decided? We overheard some, but.
Oh, we're totally going in.
Phil nods and says, "Oh, well, it is good to hear. Thank you. We could send the Kenku in, but we are reticent to endanger them, and you all look capable and kind. And the gods have truly shone their light upon us to send you all in such a time of need.
Just before we go in, 2 follow-ups. 1, anything else you think we should know or like would be useful? Sometimes I'm not like really good at putting things together, so if you could just be like super straightforward, that'd be great. And then 2, this amulet thing that we have, does it do anything, or is it just going to be like our way of saying like, hey guys, we're like with all 4 gods too?
When you open the gate, you will be admitted into the Serpent. I will not lie to you and say that the way will not be perilous from one end to the other. But the amulet serves as the key to enter this place.
Can you be more specific about the perils?
Well, as you pass through, to travel from one physical island to the next, you will likely jump from this plane to another. The planes that overlap this one are parallel. It will feel like the ground itself has not changed, but the atmosphere around you may warp and change. These shifts from one plane to another can have effects on the mortal mind. It differs from person to person.
Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves from any ill harm?
To remain mindful that these changes may occur is likely the best course of action. It's hard to say where you might phase in and phase out. It's been quite some time since we've been able to traverse them. What I will say, Phil, you remember more than I do of the Feywild. And Phil looks and says, that is because that is one of the effects of the Feywild. To travel in to the fairy realm is to enter a land of mischief and wonder. To exit it, sometimes upon leaving, mortals are left with no memory of their trip into the area. You may step forward and think that you have simply stepped into the next place where you may have spent days or weeks in the Feywild itself. Time shifts and changes in relativity to what we experience here on the material plane.
Zepp and I sort of had a similar feeling experience when we were in those barrels in the ship. You know, it just felt like a different plane, if you will, right? No time, no space. I forgot a lot of it.
Yeah, I was not. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Barrels? I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so we're probably pretty prepared for whatever's in there. We've basically done it already.
I love that you just compared being in a barrel to wandering through the Feywild.
I don't believe that the gods would send us ones that were not prepared. Young human.
He agrees with us.
We would not be sending you in if we did not have faith in you.
Oh. Anyone else feel like they've just gotten a huge confidence boost?
Yeah, I needed to hear that. I was getting a little cold feet.
I guess, but you guys don't even know us. Like, who are you? Who are you guys?
It's Phil and Baco.
Oh yeah, I know. I guess I meant that more metaphorical or at a grander scale.
I think we should go
They're
ahead.
trees that used to be an elf and a human.
I start sort of herding everyone towards the door. I'm like, thank you all so much.
Oh, I had one more question. Just marinate on it.
One question, and then we're going, everyone.
Just think about it. What is?
Right?
Just think about it.
All right, let's get out of here. Get out. That's not even a question. Get out. All right, thank you guys so much.
So you're approaching the door?
Yeah.
Next several hundred years.
Thank you so much. Please be well and protected, and go with our blessing and grace.
I want to do a perception check on the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do an investigation check if you want. It would be kind of more particular looking, so I'd say it's
Checking it for traps.
13.
13. It's definitely magically sealed, and it's large and stone. You can see a crease that goes down where the key would fit, and it seems to be well situated to fit that amulet.
All right, cashing on.
All right, you all ready? Everyone ready?
Load her up.
All right.
You place it in, and there's an immediate shift in the door. There's no light, no nothing. It's just kind of like, a little disappointing, but it's like all this dust kind of breaks. The vines start to break and swing as the door itself opens wide.
Do we get the amulet back, or does it stay in there?
No, it actually sticks in the side of the door. There. Looking in as it opens, you notice that immediately what you see is just more jungle. It's like you see sunlight on the other side, but you do see like obelisks and columns kind of leading down a path. That all seems to be like almost like there is a gentle wind that's kind of keeping the growth at bay. And if you step forward into it, it feels like you're kind of in a light wind tunnel. Like your hair kind of brushes and blows, but you get the sense that there's some sort of magic enchantment that's keeping this in line so that the growth won't overtake the path itself.
All right. Ready, everyone? Can we see very far? Like, is it daylight? Can we?
Yeah, it's daylight for a little bit. It definitely gets denser as you go. The path kind of like winds up and goes up and to the right.
Well, off we go.
Great. So it's up to you guys. We can get into this. We have about 25 minutes to when we usually stop. We can get into the first little bit of the spine of the serpent. Or if you'd like to stop, we can level, and we can chat a little bit more about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Let's do that second one.
Okay, great. Well, we had average watch time of 15 minutes. We had 2 people watching.
What? Stats are going up.
About 40 minutes ago. I did send it to my friends to watch. Somebody put eyes up. Ooh, I think my friend Justin watched for a little bit. So there you go. Well, Justin, thanks for watching 45 minutes ago or now. We're going to go ahead and end it. Guys, wow. Come on. Wash your hands. All right? Just be safe out there. Bye.
Just roll with it.
Bye.
Just roll with it. Our motto is wash your hands.